the Buffalo Bills. Hey everybody, I'm Cortez and I'm a critic, and we're talking about the Buffalo Bills draft selection. Uh, yeah, get right to it. Buffalo Bills. All right, everybody, welcome. We're talking about the Buffalo Bills. We are concluding the AFC East draft recap of the 2025 NFL Draft, and the Buffalo Bills, a team that we all thought last year when they made their draft select, including one giving them their draft position away to the Chiefs, which then they got a worthy candidate, and they used it against you. But this year, for the love of God, you didn't trade with the Chiefs, so I guess lessons are finally learned in misery. So now we're gonna see what you guys did. You guys currently have nine picks. Hopefully they can make yourself better, and I think you finally have matured, Buffalo. So let's get down to it. With the 30th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills select Maxwell Harrison, corner, Kentucky. This one I am really surprised you went. I thought you would have gone past her. I was thinking of Mike Green potentially being here because the whole notion I kept feeling the same thing I kept yelling at Baltimore, which by the way they did get Mike Green. So you're learning from me, no one else but me, a normal YouTuber. So I thought you would have gotten pass rusher first, but I can understand that maybe there was some player you guys weren't 100% for, but a good secondary going against the receiver, going against the receivers you're going to go against with, Cincinnati, which by the way, good luck to any secondary coordinator dealing with that type of receiving core of Cincinnati. Then you got Baltimore, and then of course you got the Chiefs, the Chargers, Brock Bowers of the Raiders, Sutton. So there's a lot of good receivers in the AFC side that you probably will have to deal with, and I think Buffalo not took a gamble, but they made a logical decision. I agree with the defensive back decision. I agree getting Maxwell. I get it. He's a ball hawking guy who had like 6 interceptions, 3 return for touchdowns. I get it. He's a ball hawk, and you want that, especially against the receiving threat you're going to deal with in the AFC side. I get it. I just was really surprised you did not go pass rusher, but I can understand why you didn't, because maybe you want to feel less confident. There were some pass rushers, even I was surprised that, man, he is still on the board. He is still on the board. But I'm just glad you guys didn't trade out of the first round and actually went defense, because like I said, that's the big thing that's going to make you beat literally the Chiefs. And hopefully not beat yourself, but that's how you're going to beat the Chiefs. You have to go after Mahomes, and maybe if you intercept Mahomes, maybe that's the way to do it. I mean, the Eagles did it, but that's because they had a pass rush. Now, don't worry, you did address pass rushing, but looking at Maxwell, you guys currently have him already as a day one starter as the right cornerback. So you're already getting yourself a star player. This guy's a ball hawk, and I feel like that's what the Bills want. Then we go to the second round, and with the 41st pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills selected TJ Sanders, defensive tackle, South Carolina. Stopping the run, I get it. Plus, I feel like you're realizing that Ed Oliver ain't going to be here forever, and you probably want to give him at least a partner to, help extend his career longer. But also, besides Ed Oliver, I can't think of another defensive player on that defensive line for the Bills that has really gone that type of attention to the point where offensive line coach are saying, stop 91 and the rest you're good. And I feel like giving another defensive tackle and they're running a 4-3, so it even makes more sense. I've always loved Ed Oliver when he was at Houston, even though I always felt like he was more of a defensive end that happened to be playing defensive tackle. Like, his physique doesn't match what you do view as a stereotypical defensive tackle. And I feel like, I thought honestly he was going to be utilized more as a defensive end in a 3-4 scheme. But he went defensive tackle, went to a 4-3, and he has been a beast ever since. So, hey, this is the reason why I don't get paid the big bucks to make any decision when it comes to professional NFL season or team or functionality. Even though it would be kind of nice to get a paycheck from them. They're kind of cool, Anyway, so I can understand going with the defensive tackle out of South Carolina. South Carolina's defense, I felt like, was probably the unsung hero for the Gamecocks' late season start. Even though I understand the offense led by their quarterback was the reason, but I felt like South Carolina defense, didn't take it for granted. Be like, hey, we're going to do our job, and if the offense take all the credit, fine. But that proves to you that our defense is not quitting. So to me, that's what I feel like is the reason why they went defensive tackle, to stop the run. Also give Ed Oliver a dynamic duo so they can at least cop, the middle side. Because remember, you still got good rushing attacks by, Pacheco and Derrick Henry. And not to mention whoever else is going to show up in the running back side and the AFC. So I can understand why they went that route, getting defensive tackle. But I am still feeling like, you sure you want to get a pass rusher right now? Because I kind of feel like you're going to wait too long, and I feel like you're going to put a lot of pressure on it. Yes, you got Joey Bosa for 1 year, and maybe goes on 2 more. We'll see what happens. I get that maybe the demand wasn't that high, but I kind of thought you would have been at least second pick would have been a defensive end, or at least a pass rusher. But lo and behold, you guys finally shut me up. With the third in the third round, with the 72nd pick of the 2025 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills get Landon Jackson, edge Arkansas. I wanted Tampa to get him. Like I said, a lot of Tampa bias in my videos. But I thought Jackson was going to go to Tampa, but then Tampa double up on corner to the point where I'm thinking, it'll be fine. We'll be fine. But Jackson falling to Buffalo, I think, was a surprise move for them, because I think maybe Buffalo didn't think he was going to be there. I think they probably would have utilized their draft pick if he wasn't there to probably get a linebacker or something to help solidify the middle part of that team and help be run support for their new defensive tackle they just acquired. But getting Jackson out of Arkansas, which I feel like Jackson, because Arkansas wasn't as considered a great team, like a lot of players do, that sometimes they didn't get the attention they deserve. But this guy quietly put up great numbers and was a resilient edge rusher on that. And there were times where basically he was like a TJ Watt in his own team. He was always in the backfield, whether he made the play or not, but he was there in the backfield to make quarterbacks throw the ball quickly, or make running back have to either try to like break inside, or just have to muscle the way through, or just somehow just take the L and just go down. So seeing him, and plus he's gonna have a mentor in Bosa, a first-round pick, still dynamic player in Bosa. So I feel that this would be a good, not just a great mentorship, but also it gives Bosa a chance to be like, okay, I don't have to be the savior for the Bills pass rush department. I can rely on this rookie. And I feel like Jackson, let me see, they have Jackson currently as a defensive end behind Greg. Based on the other side of Joey Bosa on the left defensive side. So we'll see what he does there. I feel like he'll be a rotational player, and I think he'll probably be utilized way more than what Von Miller was expected to be in the pass rush side, where he was utilized on situational play. I feel like Jackson could utilize probably more, and we'll see down the line what happens. Like I said, injuries can also lead to him becoming a starter probably about week 10, but I think this is a great quality pickup for the Bills. They finally address it. And the cool thing is they didn't stop there. In the 4th round, with the 109th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills selected Deion Walker, defensive tackle, Kentucky. I always like when players get drafted and then a teammate of theirs, especially on their side of the football. Like when 2 defensive players get drafted, I always kind of find it cool, because it's kind of like, cool, I'm not going to go through the NFL rookie process alone. So that's pretty cool. So they bundle up, and funny enough, Buffalo, are you just getting the SEC All-Star defensive team? Because all the players are SEC. 2 Kentucky, 1 Razorback, and 1 Gamecock. So just a pure coincidence, but also I love coincidence, make a great storyline in newspapers. So getting another defensive tackle, I feel like this is more for rotational purposes. And also, like I said, Ed Oliver is not going to be here forever. Let me see. Ed Oliver was drafted in 2019. Okay, so he's not officially old, but 27 is still up in there in age. You probably want to looking for a potential replacement, or at least, give him some rotational depth, so therefore he can last another 5 years instead of going for 3 by 30. I still feel like he has proven his worth, and I definitely feel like he'll still be there. The question will come, how much can he keep it up? But with Bosa and Oliver having young rookies coming in as rotation to give those guys breath to take and not have to worry about missing a step from the defense. Like I said, you're going against you won the division, which means you're going against the number 1 teams in whoever division you're going to face. Okay, so it definitely screams this is to keep our veteran, 5+ year veteran defensive stars rested and ready to go when it comes to crunch time, and also gives the rookies chance to get rotation, get time, so therefore when the time comes, they can step in and still be effective without the defense slumping down because of that gap in, experience and talent. So doubling up on defensive tackles on a 4-3 defense makes sense for rotational purposes. It helps Oliver and it helps the defensive line, which I feel like that is the main reason why they don't win against, teams like the Chiefs. Their front four cannot pressure Mahomes, which the Eagles and the Bucks did. And that's how they won their Super Bowls. Going to the 5th round. With the 170th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills selected Jordan Hancock, cornerback, Ohio State. Okay, I'm sorry. I keep thinking about that Will Smith movie, Hancock, and it just makes me laugh, especially when it's Hancock. So anyway, okay, you double up offense, you double up defensive tackle, and I double up corners. The biggest thing I had a problem with the Bills last year was that a lot of their star players on the receiver and defensive back department left because they're going to have the money to keep them, and they had to make decisions. And I really felt like this would be the year where the Bills were kind of weak enough that maybe the Dolphins or even the Jets, with Aaron Rodgers healthy, it could have been the reason why the Bills slumped off or even missed the playoffs, or worst case, become a wild card team as the number 2 place in their own division. It did not happen. Josh Allen won MVP, and we all basically just flat out said, shut up. So seeing the Bills double up on defense, all their picks so far have been defense, which I feel like it's like finally you're addressing probably their biggest reason why you guys have not even made a Super Bowl trip, let alone won a Super Bowl. Do I believe all defensive players they're going to play are going to become starters and great players? I hope, but at least in the best case, all these players that I've announced already, including Jordan Hancock, will eventually become rotational players and make impact, and also give their star players not to be the saviors every freaking time. The Bills are going against a tough road every single year, and Josh Allen is another person where I feel like he can't do it alone. And, Father Time is undefeated. So seeing Hancock, who was vital for the Ohio State Buckeye when they won the national championship, and that defense, which I feel like that was the reason why I had Ohio State win the whole thing, is not because of Howard and the running back duel in the background, and of course, Mboku. No, it was the defense of Ohio State that made me just feel like that's the reason why they're going to win the championship. And when they played against Notre Dame, I felt like for the most part, it was their defense was the reason why they were winning the game. Even though I kind of felt like toward the end of that game, I was like, okay, the defense starting to slack a little bit. Guys, do not make this closer than it has to be. Okay, I got Notre Dame Irish fans. I got a mock, so you better win this one. So to me here, you're getting another dynamic corner to go with the new one you just got. These could be a potential the next 1-2 punch, in maybe next 2 years or so. So, and they both have proven themselves worthy, and they both know what to be on a caliber team. So to me, this is another way of getting a team player more than a star player. Then 3 picks later, with the 173rd pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills selected their first offensive player in Jackson Hawes, tight end, Georgia Tech. Buffalo, Kincaid and Knox are still here. I don't know. I kind of feel like they want to go wide receiver in this one. Not really sold on another tight end. I mean, I don't see you guys in a 3 tight end set formation, and even then on goal line situations, I don't know, guys. I don't know. Let me look at his measurables. Maybe he's like 6'7" or something. 6'5", 260 standard. I don't know, guys. This pick feels a little bit like there must be something on the tape or something in his combine that I'm probably not seeing. This one feels a little iffy for me because I thought Kincaid proved himself and Knox is still a valuable asset. So I don't know. I thought maybe you might go receiver on this one, maybe linebacker, but no disrespect to Jackson, but this one just feels a little bit like you must see something that I don't see, and hopefully it works out for you. Or maybe you're trying to replace Knox in time, or maybe use him as a trade valuable, so therefore you get a 2 times. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's a strategy beyond just what I see on the roster, but I honestly felt like I thought you guys were pretty solid. I mean, some fans were surprised when you got Kincaid from Utah, when you got Knox. So I don't know. This one feels a little bit like I think I'm missing something, or maybe he's one of those guys that he's built like a tight end, but he plays more like a receiver. So maybe they utilize him as a big, thick receiver in the slot. Who knows? But I thought that's what see, it goes back to Kincaid and Knox. So Maybe Buffalo has something there that I don't see, but Buffalo fans, and maybe you guys got more, in-depth local report than I do, probably. Bills Mafia, let me know. I'm gonna say this one's a little bit like a. Okay, you guys see something I don't see. You guys see something I don't see. Okay. Then 4 picks later, because the Bills just stock up, we're now go to the 6th round with the 177th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. The Buffalo Bills select Dioran Strong, corner, Virginia Tech. I guess we're just doubling, tripling up on cornerbacks. That's what we're doing. Guess we're gonna just double up, triple up on that. So, I mean, what more can I really say? Virginia Tech was one of those teams last year that was making a run at the ACC. I mean, there were some games that just made you go, I wish it got better in your way. I felt like Virginia Tech was more of an offensive focus this year than was last year, but maybe the athleticism they see was strong is something they can feel very strongly about. Okay, that was kind of bad. They currently have him viewed as a left cornerback, currently as a third stringer. Possibly we'll see more as playing time in the preseason. Then of course probably get his job in special teams. We'll see what happens. I feel like the secondary suffered some injuries during the season, so they're probably looking at depth. And this is probably why they're tripling up on the cornerback side. Maxwell's a great addition. Everyone else is going to be a contributing factor, and we'll see how quickly they get involved in the defense. I still believe, though, what makes a good secondary better is a good pass rush. So maybe the defensive lineman they have selected will make up for it. So therefore, the secondary won't have to be relied too much on covering these great wide receivers in the AFC. We're still in the 6th round with the 206th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. The Buffalo Bills selected Chase Lundbit, offensive tackle, UConn. Okay, I keep hearing Chase a lot during the combine. I keep hearing his name passed around a lot. That he's one of those offensive tackles that he has the measurables to make up for, the lack of just rawness. But I honestly thought he would have been picked up probably before the 200th pick. I thought some teams like the Chiefs, the command, like I thought some teams that really wanted offensive line help to protect their quarterback was going to be picked up. Buffalo picking him, I feel like it's supposed to help give Josh Allen time to throw the ball in the pocket. Josh Allen don't have to just take off and run in case the off-pocket line. Do I see Che becoming a starter eventually? I believe so. I believe he does have those intangibles, but he's currently viewed. Pardon me. He's viewed as the second behind Spencer Brown at the right tackle. So this could be a steal, but maybe because he's such a raw specimen, they have not really fully developed him yet. Offensive tackles, like guards, they're always interchangeable, and the question would be how long can they last in the starting role? Preseason would be a good way to test it out. I feel like this is meant to be a potential replacement, and definitely an insurance policy. And for all who know, we might see him as as an extra tackle on short yardage goal line situation, maybe to help with the Josh Allen tush push that has failed miserably multiple times. So we'll see. But this, to me, I feel like is a diamond that the Bills found that I'm surprised he was still there at 206. Now, the last pick in the 7th round, with the 240th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills selected Caden Prather, wide receiver, Maryland. There it is, Maryland again. It's Maryland. What's up? What is going on with the Terrapins I don't know about? Turtles. So, another wide receiver, which, like I said, I really thought they would get a receiver, probably where they got Jackson, the tight end from Georgia Tech. I would honestly have been okay if they would reverse the position focus. They would have got a wide receiver in there, because I didn't really feel like Coleman really got the attention that he did. I always thought it was Shakir. Shakir was the one getting most of the attention. They got 2 good tight ends. I think Cook really stepped up. Josh Allen won MVP. So I don't know. The receiving core, I felt like when it comes to their offensive firepower, I felt like the receiver was kind of like the last offensive weapon. I feel it was Josh Allen, running backs, tight ends, then wide receivers. And even the wide receivers was still like, I mean, we remember when Gabe Davis, was literally showing out when they had Stephon Diggs there at times. And then he went over to Jacksonville. I think he went to Jacksonville. And then maybe didn't do as well because I don't hear a lot of talk about him when it comes to their receiver. And Jacksonville got a new receiver, which we'll talk about that when we talk about Jacksonville. So, I mean, he's currently viewed as a fourth, but the receiving department has seen that filled. They got a bunch of receivers from other teams that have developed well and didn't last long or did not do enough to get attention. So we'll see. Coleman has a second year under what he does in the second year. I still feel like it's still going to be the rushing attack of Cook, even though Cook is not looking too happy right now. Quarterback's not doing. And also you got Ray Davis, who I feel like is another running back that has an athleticism from Kentucky, mind you, another Wildcat, who is another player that I feel like he's utilized more as a pass catcher in the flat. But James Cook is definitely the workhorse. And I feel like a lot of games, Cook was the reason why the Bills won those games. As much as Josh Allen gets the credit, Cook was the workhorse in the Buffalo Bills offense. We'll see what he does in the preseason. This young wide receiver from Maryland, but I mean, I besides Coleman and Shakir, I feel there's only two wide receivers I feel like they have solidified as 1 and 2. So 3, 4, and 5, I feel like an open season for a bunch of them. And who knows, Caden come in and take a spot from them. So we'll see. It's a competition wide receiver, and honestly, if he makes his time on special teams, he gets a roster spot, and that's what counts more for a 7th round pick receiver. And the Buffalo Bills, the grade I give them, they've been contenders. They loaded up on defense. The tight end one still gives me a question mark. They're still contenders, and I think they're more contenders now because they addressed the defense. Now, of course, this is basically just on paper, and paper can get damaged when one raindrop hits it. So to me, the Bills are still contenders because they always will be contenders until some drastic drop. But I feel like compared to last year, where I thought with the receiving core being as depleted as it was, this one I feel more confident because they addressed the defense. The question is, how quickly can that defense shows up? Because, like I said, AFC is going to be tough for the Bills, and that defense need to show up quickly. And not MVP, but my favorite pick, I'm giving to Landon Jackson, the edge from Arkansas. I loved his film. I loved his tangibles. I don't know. There's something about him where I feel like he's gonna be surprised. He's gonna be more surprised than Maxwell, because I feel like Jackson is the one that's gonna get started leading the sacks. Now with Joey Bosa on the other side, I feel with Bosa on the other side, you're gonna probably get more one-on-one matchups, and if he takes advantage of that, I think that's going to be what the Bills want. A young pass rusher to go with a veteran pass rusher on the opposite side. So to me, Jackson is a player that I'm going to say we should watch. He's my favorite pick of the Buffalo Bills 25 draft selection. And that is the Bills, and that is the entire AFC East. Now, like we always do, we go from one East to the other East, so we're going to go to the NFC East. And, well, let's get right down to it. Let's see what the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles are up to, as we will talk about them first in the NFC East recap. So until next time, I am Cortez, and I'm a critic. Thank you so very much for watching.